I was always interested in the design of them, and it's almost like every stadium is a little challenge, a little bit of a gigantic art project, which I guess is what architecture is anyways. So that kind of drew me into the uniqueness of stadiums. So as a kid, I was always into sport. My two biggest things were sports and drawing. And eventually it morphed into like drawing stadiums, drawing fields. As I got older, I found myself looking for a hobby, and it kind of, 20 years after I stopped drawing stadiums, I kind of came back to that. It started off as, let's just see if I can design my own little stadium just for the fun of it out of cardboard. And I started finding out better ways to do it, and eventually realized paper was the cheapest and easiest way to build these stadiums, because I work at a school and I would just pull paper out of the recycling bins and use that. So I literally built them for free until I started churning it out faster and had to buy supplies. So the first three stadiums, they were just kind of made up stadiums, and then the fourth one was the first one I modeled after anything. I built Rosenblatt Stadium. I grew up down the street from Rosenblatt, and then just being in Omaha and having that attachment to that stadium is fun to kind of build that as almost a tribute to the stadium. And then the next thing I did was Memorial Stadium. And anybody, obviously growing up in Nebraska, there's emotional attachment to that. What really changed it and made this kind of a bigger thing is my buddy, because I was sending him pictures like, hey, look what I'm doing. My buddy said, hey, you should start a Twitter account, because I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy this. And I thought, I'm sure there'll be a couple dozen people that think this is cool, so why not? So I started that, and it ended up being a couple thousand people that enjoy it, and some of my videos have had hundreds of thousands of views, and it's kind of fun. It's always fun seeing people appreciate something that you spend a lot of time on and do a lot of effort and really care about and put a lot of energy into. I didn't even know if I'd keep doing it after I was done with Memorial Stadium. So it was a surprise that it was as popular as it was. I didn't really realize how many people would think this is something that's really cool, and how many people would say, hey, you made Memorial Stadium. I'm a Iowa fan. Can you make Kinnick Stadium, or so on and so forth? So seeing the reaction from Memorial Stadium, and I believe it got like 150,000 views or something like that, it definitely motivated me to want to do more projects. So right now, it's all my stadiums that I'm building are just people have ordered them. For the most part, they're usually major league stadiums. But the first process I'm doing is I get a blueprint for it. So I use that blueprint to make a map. And then I also get like side profiles of the stadium off of that. And I start putting up all the profiles like I have right now. But what I'm doing right now is going to take a half hour, whereas before it might have taken 2 or 3 days. Just because I've come up with some innovative ways to do a different process. And then from there, it's putting all the pieces on top of it. So kind of a way I've explained it, it's almost like a 3D drawing. So after I have all the profiles set up, I'll be drawing the seats, I'll be drawing the exterior, and I'll be attaching it to the profiles. And then the one thing I always look for in every project is unique little touches and little nods to reasons that people enjoy those stadiums. The single most challenging thing I've done so far is make the roof for the Astrodome. That's the first time I've made anything like that. So I had to figure out a way with flat pieces of paper that only bend in one direction. You can't bend a piece of paper in more than one direction, really. I enjoyed that challenge. That's kind of, if you're picking up a hobby, part of a hobby usually is you want some sort of challenge that entertains you. So that's been one of the most challenging things I've done. And by the time I was done, it was one of the most rewarding things, because I challenged myself to do something very difficult, and I achieved it. I personally think the coolest one is the Kauffman Stadium that's made out of baseball cards. It turned out really well and looks really cool. And actually, that's one that I gave to my dad for Father's Day, just because as I started making it, I was like, this is too cool to give away to somebody, so I'm going to keep it in the family. Stadiums are one of the only buildings that you can connect memories to. Like I keep telling people, like, you have your child at home and a stadium, usually, if you're a sports fan, that you can look back at and have so many memories in those places. This has become something that's been really rewarding and fulfilling. I found out through social media that there are hundreds of people that were just like me growing up that drew stadiums and drew fields and were obsessed with this stuff, and we thought it was such a niche and nobody else did this. So that's kind of been cool, finding out that I was sitting there in 7th grade class not paying attention, drawing Memorial Stadium, and there was other kids all over the nation obsessed with this stuff. And it's not necessarily like I'm a millennial that just is looking for social media clout. It's more just people enjoy what I'm doing, and if somebody enjoys what you're doing, it's really inspirational, and it really inspires me to want to do it some more so that more people can enjoy it. And if it's something that brightens somebody's day for 10 seconds, that's something cool to me that I can really hang my hat on and be proud of, that I'm putting out this social media content that makes somebody smile.